Welcome to the Healing Corner podcast, where we're having honest conversations in a safe place since 2022.
I'm
Ugh.
excited. I'm excited because there's so much coming in that needs to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, when is a better time than
Yeah,
now?
right
Let's
now.
make it happen. Let's do this thing,
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Healing Corner podcast, where me, Coach Yams, and Coach Deb, we show up twice a month to have real life conversations with y'all about real life things because we're all navigating life, and it's easier when we do it together. And so before we get started, I'm going to give Deb a chance to introduce herself. I'll introduce myself. We'll tell you the topic for today, and then we'll get into it. Go ahead, Deb.
Okay, hey everyone. So if you're new here, my name is Deborah Williams, but you can go by Deb. Um, I do a lot of different things, but the two main things that I do, I provide in-home care, and also I do intuitive readings online. So if you're interested in any of those services, check out my website. It's debshealingcornerstone.com.
Awesomeness. And then my name is Yamana, and the internet knows me as Coach Yam. And I'm out here helping millennial professionals to live on purpose, unapologetically, and to stop doing shit out of obligation. In addition to that, I have a virtual dance party every Wednesday. Want more information about that? Go to dancewithyams.com. And if you're just interested in other things that I do, because obviously we podcast, but also life coaching, dancing, and all other kinds of fun things are in the pipeline. Go to coachyams.com. And all the yams that I'm talking about is spelled with a Z. So, yeah, now to get into today's topic, today's show is called Nourishing Nature, Clean Eating, and Herbalism for Wellness. And we wanted to bring this topic forward because, eating is one of the things that we've all got to do. And eating and how we are fueling our bodies is it's it's important how we do it because it determines how we feel. And so we wanted to bring this topic forward because it's an important thing to talk about. We all got to eat, and so we should be doing the best job that we can to give our bodies what they need to keep doing what we ask them to do every single day. Deb, you want to start things?
Okay. Yeah. So I think that it's real important for us to do the clean eating, but I also want to I guess I want to start off with the wellness, because the wellness part of it is what stuck out to me the most, because then all in all, that's really what it all pins down to, y'all. And I know from personal experience, when I first started to try to eat better than what it was that I was, let's say, raised by, or what it was that my parents, put before me as a child to eat. It took a while for me to get to the more cleaner route because of just having the taste for it, or having the desire to want certain things. But then it's like, as you start to get older, you realize you can grow your own foods and you can do, your own things. And then also, I know that this kind of incorporates with it, but people don't think about this. Even your care that you have, like your deodorants, your toothpastes, and things of that nature, those are also things that you can look at and as a way to have a clean lifestyle, or have a more healthy version of, the lifestyle. Because I've actually gone without having that aluminum deodorant for almost, wow, maybe 10 years, a decade now or more. And that has definitely, I feel like, improved my health when it comes to those those areas. So what do you have to say, James?
So I think it's interesting that you bring up that part of things because I don't know why that part of things didn't even cross my mind, even though that is very much a part of the care of the body. And so like with the specifically like with the deodorant of it all, I know that what is sold in stores on the shelves is antiperspirant, and that has the aluminum in it to block you from sweating, and that also holds other toxins in the body. And it's interesting because I feel like I've been forced into clean eating very specifically recently. But even before now, because like you, I've not used antiperspirant for quite some time. It's probably been about 4 or 5 years for me now. But I stopped using it because it made my armpits itch. And so I could not continue to use that. And so it came down to clean eating and herbalism, all of this. It comes down to listening to your body and what it needs.
Yes.
And respecting those needs. That's really what a lot of this ends up being about. And yeah, like the current journey that I'm on, I recently figured out, well, so I had an allergy test done years ago, but the reaction to food has just come forth. I have an allergy to corn now, and I believe oats as well. Yes. And so having to relearn how to eat the things that are not what my default items are, it's work. It's work.
Yeah. It is. It really is. And, you know, like I was saying earlier, kind of the way that you were raised or the way that, you know, your family might have fed you could be also a thing. Because that's one thing that I noticed, that a lot of stuff that I was eating when I was younger, I was allergic to, but didn't know it. So, you know, changing that up and switching it to something that's more simple, because I think that's how it started for me, because I've also did a water fast. I don't know if you've ever tried that before, but I've done a fast, and the longest I've ever done a water fast was maybe I think 3 days. And you know, it was real interesting because at the time what I was doing for a living, I was doing kind of like warehouse work. So I was really active and I was moving a lot. And I don't know, it kind of, after the third day, my body felt kind of like it felt clean kind of, but at the same time I felt droggy. And I feel like if I would have kept going, I would have cleared out that you know, that drogginess or whatever that is. I was getting kind of like headaches and stuff like that. And it was making me feel like you need to eat, you need to eat. And I was thinking, after the fact, after it was all said and done, if I would have kept going, it probably would have got better. But that's the longest I've ever like gone, because I've tried it multiple times, but it's only lasts for like a day or two.
I have not ever tried a water fast, but I have tried other fasts. I remember specifically a time in college when me and my line sister, we decided to fast. I don't remember the specifics of why we chose to fast, but we were also pledging a sorority at that time. And we got real feisty with each other. And one of our friends still like recounts how we were acting a complete fool and we had just gone without food for like a day.
Isn't that something?
So fasting will test the body, but also, you know, it's good to test yourself.
Yes.
You have to, like, you know, try new things and push yourself to a limit so that you can reach new heights. But yeah.
Sure. And you know, also that to kind of tag on to what we're going to be having in the next 2 weeks, the live that's going to be what we're going to be having on the 26th. We have Herbalist that's coming, so you guys definitely want to stay tuned for that. He'll be giving us some insight on, you know, herbalism, but I did want to touch on it a little bit. They do have, you know, herbs that are out there that can help to cleanse the blood and cleanse the system and stuff like that. But I know some people don't take it because of the medications that they are on, or, you know, it's like what do they call that? When the doctor basically tells you you shouldn't take this because it's gonna contradict what you're already taking. So y'all just be careful with stuff like that too. You know, we want to make sure that we're being safe about when we do transition into a healthier eating, or we start to change stuff too, because you don't want your body to start reacting in a crazy way either.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
ever had any type of reaction to like a new way of eating? Have you ever had any real bad effects?
With what? With eating in new ways?
Yeah, and trying something new.
I think the only reaction that I've had that's been bad, I tried sea moss recently and it broke me out. It was weird. I didn't expect that to be the case.
Yeah.
But under normal circumstances, up to date, things have been pretty good for me. And this new allergy has been the hardest part. Which brings me to what I want to touch on, is to be clear about what kind of the definition of clean eating means. And so clean eating is about eating whole foods that are minimally processed. And so clean eating has taken on a new definition for me, because that very clearly and specifically looks like me eating naked meat, things that are not breaded and coated in things, fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, nuts and seeds. Yeah, that's the clean eating we're talking about here. And I know that, like, we've got the food pyramid and all the things, and I don't subscribe to all of the things with the food pyramid, especially the bread part of things, because something that I think that is something that I don't know that I've had a lot of exposure to before, like specifically seeking it out, is that all the breads and the flours and that processed stuff is terrible for the body, because the body can't break all that stuff down. Like whole grains and things like that, unless you have gluten allergies or something like that, those things are cool. Can you still hear me? I can't
Yeah.
hear you. Oh, there we go. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't like lose a thing. What I was going to say is that one of the things that I know that wasn't something that I had information about was the fact that all of this floury, sugary, powdered sugarness, all of the flours and all that, it turns into sugar in the body, which then the body can't break down all that sugar, because there's only so much breaking down and processing that the body can do within a window of time. And so when it has all this excess sugar that it can't break down, that's what then turns into fat and is stored on the body. And then it can dysregulate insulin. And for the record, guys, I am not a healthcare professional. I am just speaking from my personal experience and education that I have received during the process of just living my life and working through living with obesity and navigating food allergies as they have arisen, because our bodies change over time. So yeah,
Definitely.
what you thinking?
I was also thinking about like traits that are passed on, like when it comes to like your children having certain types of allergies or something like that that you might have. Sometimes it can go from family to generation too. So it's a good thing to look into like your history, like your family history, and find out what people had and see what could be a possibility that you might have to. And I like how you said you went to go get a test to find out about your allergies. I just recently found out about that was even a factor. Like you could do that in the last few years. I didn't even know that even existed. So that's like a really cool thing. I don't know what are those people called that you go to? What do they have?
An allergist.
Okay.
It's an allergist. Yeah. And so I know from my experience, there's two different types of tests that I am aware of, because I've had both done. One of them is, and I think it's called an inhalant, which is things that you breathe in, and they can test you for your allergy reactiveness to things that you inhale. And then also the food allergy part of things. And so with that, my experience is you lay on your back or you lay on your stomach, your back is exposed, and they have these little test things that, I don't want to say prick you, but kind of poke you and rub you with whatever substance would give or not give a reaction. And based on your reaction physically on your skin, they measure that and determine what things you would have a reaction to. And so for me, 5 years ago is when I found out that I was allergic to barley and corn and oats and rice and rye. But barley was the thing that took me into the office because that was the thing that I was having a current reaction to. All the rest of that stuff has not been reactionary until about 3 months ago. And so, in that, because I have these allergy tests, I've struggled with allergies most of my life. I'm lactose intolerant. And then there is ascorbic acid, which is man-made, manufactured vitamin C. I cannot digest that. It makes me sick as a damn dog. And then all of the other things that I learned from the actual allergist. So according to the allergist, honey, I'm allergic to everything and should be taking Zyrtec all day. I mean, the trees, the cats and dogs and everything in between.
Just
according to that, I should be in a bubble. But it's interesting how the body chooses what's going to present a reaction and what's not. Because I've lived 5 years eating oats and corn and all the things, ain't had no problems until recent.
Wow. And that's, that's the same thing with me when it comes to milk. Because when I was younger, man, I remember.
Pour some milk up, baby. Cereal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes. And then, it was like, I don't know, maybe when I turned about 23, something like that, that's when I was like, I can't keep drinking this because this is messing my stomach up. And I stopped. I really haven't had it unless it's in a product. Like sometimes I'll eat something and of course it was cooked with actual milk in it. But outside of that, having a full glass of milk or any of that or a bowl, no powder. And I think that this is just, again, I'm not a doctor. I want to put that out there too. I'm not a doctor or a professional when it comes to that. But I think that milk has something, or it could contribute to women's, like the things that you get in your breasts or the things that you get even with men, their private areas. I feel like those get affected by that animal, pus basically that you're drinking. I hate to say it that way, but that's kind of like what it is.
It's what it is. Yeah, pus and blood, honey. We're gonna call it thing a thing. Milk is gross.
Yep.
Milk is gross.
I want to ask you about your garden. So how long have you been doing that, and have you seen, like, is there more people that are coming to help assist with the garden? Or
yeah, so I am a part of a community garden in North Nashville called Magruder Community Garden. Anybody that's interested in gardening, if you're in the Nashville area, go to my profile and it'll get you signed up. But we've got, I think they're partnered with the Nashville Food Project, so there's a few locations around town. But I'm over in North Nashville, and it's a community garden. And so with that, we get together, we grow things, we harvest, we weed, we do all the things. I've been a part of the community garden for 2 seasons, like 2 full years. And it's been a really great community because I've met a lot of people who are just, people living whatever various lives that we live, but coming together for the sake of keeping up this space that we share. And I really love community gardening because, one, it allows me to grow, and it's not the commitment of me having to know how to do things right. There's other people that can help, other people that can instruct and guide. And then, Google's good also. And so with being a part of the community garden for the last 2 years, this year, I decided in my own backyard, I wanted to just try growing something. And so I have been growing loofah for the last month and a half. And I don't have any loofah yet. And for those who are unsure what I'm talking about loofah, like the sponge that you wash your body with in the shower. It may come out the ocean because I've heard people say, oh, I thought it come out the ocean. I don't know. It might come out the ocean. But there is a variety that is in the cucumber family, and it grows. It's a gourd. And so it grows, it turns brown, it dries out, and then you can harvest it and you can wash your body or dishes or whatever you want to with it. But if you get it young enough, you can eat it. And so it's just really fascinating. Like, nature is so cool. And being a part of a garden where I'm learning about growing vegetables, we grow herbs and flowers also. It's really amazing how much nature is able to take care of itself and keep feeding back into itself. Like there's something called stinging nettle, and if you let it sit in water for a long time until it gets real funky, it turns into fertilizer that you can then fertilize the garden with. Who knew? Not me. So I think that's real cool. I've been learning all kinds of stuff.
That sounds really cool because, you know, if someone doesn't continue on this gardening, like we appreciate the farmers, like farmers market, because I have one actually down the street from where I live at. And it's like, you know, the actual stuff that they get out of the garden that hasn't had all the extra stuff in it. And it might be a little bit more pricier because some people, they get kind of, you know, because prices are a little bit higher. But if y'all haven't noticed, everything is going up. So it's like you might as well eat something that is more natural or more healthier. And then the organic word, be careful with that organic word, y'all, because I noticed that people have been labeling stuff organic, and it's you got to look at it. You got to really be careful. So,
and the other thing about gardening, like if anybody chooses to garden as a community or solo, is the food that you grow does not taste the same as the food that they're selling in the grocery store. Like under normal circumstances, I don't really like tomatoes, but tomatoes out the garden are delicious. Yeah. So just something to consider.
Yeah. I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think that the gardening thing is a really cool thing. Like next year, I plan on doing it in my yard too. This year, I had a lot going on, so I wasn't able to get out there in time. And it also helps you to ground yourself too when you're gardening. So that's a benefit of, you know, what do they call the electrons and whatever we have,
and the nitrates or whatever, and you getting your hands in the soil and all of that. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it is cleansing. The other thing I wanted to say is that you know, oftentimes we don't recognize how connected our gut is to the rest of our body. And again, not a healthcare professional in that way, but the gut is called the second brain. And so the gut is very much tied to how all the rest of the body is doing and feeling. And so it's really important that we are giving the body what it needs and cutting back on as much of the trash that it does not need, because that is going to release toxins into the body, and your body's having to work extra hard to get rid of the trash that you're putting inside of that.
For sure. Well, we're getting close to the 1 o'clock time. So was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
If we're going back to like environmental things, I just think that, you know, like the things like the types of soaps that you're using and the moisturizers that you're using on your skin and all of that factors into your overall wellness and health. And when we have our guest on in a couple of weeks, he'll be able to give more detail. But I do know that there are herbs that exist, specifically like I think peppermint and chamomile are good for digestion. And so there are different herbs that you can turn into teas, and they're good for different aspects of the body. Some herbs exist and they're good for helping with inflammation. So yeah, nature has all the things that we need for a sustainable life. We just have to take the time to learn about it so that we can implement that. And sometimes I know that can feel overwhelming and like a tall order, but it's not something that has to be done overnight. Just making little changes one at a time is what it's really all about. And so like, I know, you know, getting in water is something that's been important for me. And so I've gotten really good at drinking water all the time. And then with this allergy thing, before that happened, I told myself I wanted to do less meat this year and more vegetables and fruits. And so finding ways to make sure I incorporate more vegetables with my meals was the goal. And the way that I did that is I made smoothies, because it didn't require me to sit down and eat all of this. I could just drink it real quick. And so just finding ways to implement how you can add new good habits and allow the old ones to fall away. One at a time is all it takes. This is not an overnight job. Be patient with yourself, be kind with yourself, and listen to your body.
Yes, yes. And a good herb, one herb I could say that you guys could probably look up is moringa. I used to work with a independent distributor, and the everything that they sold, because it was like plant based, different types of drinks and shakes and protein shakes and stuff like that. It was based with moringa because moringa has a lot of nutrients. So y'all definitely check that out.
Hmm. Well, this has been good. Y'all make sure to come back on the fourth Saturday. I don't know what date that is, Deb.
26.
But the 26th of August, come back and join us. We'll have special guest Leo on, who is an herbalist, and he can give y'all the lowdown on all the clean eating and the herbs of it all, so that we can continue to grow together and live happier, healthier lives. Because that's what this is all about. We get one meat suit, y'all. Got to take good care of it so that it can get us to the end of whatever our journey is meant to be about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay.
Well, I ain't got nothing else. You got anything else? You want to leave the people with anything?
I mean, if you guys, again, if you're interested in any of my services, you can check out debshealingcornerstone.com.
Big facts. If y'all are interested in any of the services that I offer, coachyams.com. And also, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe the Healing Corner podcast, because that's how we continue to spread this information to all the corners of the world. Share it with somebody that you know that this could benefit, or share it, just somebody that may not, you don't even know if it'll benefit. Just share it. Just share it. It's good stuff. And if you want to be a guest, if you go to thehealingcornerpodcast.com, you can sign up to be a guest on our show, because we are always interested in additional perspectives to help grow us as people in general, and our audience, and all the things. And so I guess with that, we'll close this thing out, and join us in 2 weeks on the 26th. We love y'all so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Talk soon.